The equations group is almost conclusively the NSA, or the NSA and the Five Eyes, which is the secret services of the United States, Great Britain, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, who collaborate together in the development of surveillance technologies. Malicious software has been found on the computers of scientists and other forms of researchers, activists, all over the world for about 15 years, and it was clear that this malware was kind of coming from one source. It was never clear what that source was. When you combine what security researchers have found about these malicious pieces of software and what we know from the Snowden revelations, it becomes clear that this is all the product of a group inside the NSA. And I think we saw last week, President Obama came to the Bay Area. He spoke at Stanford, talking about the need for greater collaboration between the private sector and the government over in sort of cybersecurity. On one hand, the government says that. On the other hand, the Obama administration's behavior has been characterized by an enormous reliance on offensive cybersecurity capabilities all over the world. What we find is that there's a fundamental conflict of interest. The United States has the most sophisticated offensive cyber warfare capability in the world. We have the most sophisticated ability to hack into other computers. We have the largest stockpile of vulnerabilities in commonly used software, and we have force of law and a privileged position over the companies that make most of the world's sort of critical computing infrastructure, whether it's Cisco, IBM, Microsoft. So that's sort of that is the enormous advantage in the field of offensive cybersecurity that the U.S. government has. And there is virtually nothing that the U.S. government could do on the defensive side that would not in some way decrease the power of that enormous offensive toolkit that the U.S. government has built up. If the U.S. government made serious investments in securing the underlying computing infrastructure from North Korea, Russia, criminals at home, your local hacker, anyone who wants to buy these tools off the internet or hire someone online to sort of stalk someone or harass someone. If the United States government made a serious investment in any of the technologies that we can think of that would make the sort of basic civilian infrastructure more robust, the U.S. Government would be undermining this offensive capability that gives them tremendous power both at home and abroad. So we do see the U.S. government funding defensive technologies, but it's, when the U.S. government does, a few $1 million a year to the Tor project, they also invest hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, into offensive capability to attack Tor and other projects, and other sort of secure communication projects. So what the U.S. government is kind of asking us when they say we should cooperate with them is the infrastructure that we all depend on should be protected by the organization that has invested the most resources in attacking that very same infrastructure. We need our government to acknowledge this conflict of interest, and we need to come up with sort of bureaucratic and legal mechanisms to separate the government's defensive and offensive interests.